Hi guys, I wanted to introduce you to my granddog. Here's the gorgeous Bossy, the pug. Not the smartest dog, but how cute is he? And he has therapeutic properties. I just adore him. So I'm going to park him now to waddle out and get on with this reading. Just give me a moment. So I've decided to start catching up on requests while we're waiting for the massively redacted report. Let's have a look at some of the bigger issues. So a viewer requested a reading into the symbology of the Statue of Liberty and Uncle Sam. So what was embodied in that sort of mindset and concept, and then I thought I'd follow that with what's happening now for America. So in other words, a three-parter. So I'm going to do the first two, Statue of Liberty first, Uncle Sam, and then where America's heading. Let's go for that. So let's have a look at the Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty. It's globally iconic. You know, the Statue of Liberty, you have to love everything that she represents. Let's have a look. Statue of Liberty. Come on down. Statue of Liberty. I'm going to put them face down and see what turns up here. Okay, so first for her. Love, fun, and creating history. Quite a sweet little taster reading, if you like. The Hanged Man. On the one hand, it doesn't sound that promising, someone being hanged, but they're not being hanged in a negative way at all. This is the card of the willing sacrifice. This person is quite comfortable and they've given of themselves to the greater good. That's the idea behind that. And because the person's upside down, it's a different perspective. So it was coming to the new world with this idea. And thanks to France, they picked up the old egalite concept and went with it. So she is very important for looking at another point of view towards people. It's also another point of view about what is our country, because so much of Europe has massive history, thousands and thousands of years, not just the 2,000 years of Christianity, much, much more. And so having occupied the land of the indigenous people and the Native Americans throughout the country without respect and at times with immense cruelty and avarice. But the ideal of the country was much more high and mighty than the lived reality. Right, so it's a very big first card. It's a major arcana. It is about bringing people together and giving them respite from hardship and pain and loss and confusion. So the idea was to make good on this promise. So underneath the foundation was the sun, again a very radiant card. Give us your huddled masses. You know, it was very much about bringing the sun into people's lives. The card of nostalgia is interesting as a top card overviewing it, because whereas conventionally this is looking back to the past, you could argue in this mini reading it's looking back to the past in order to make a new future. So that's the energy around the Statue of Liberty there. Uncle Sam, I'd imagine, is a bit of a different story. Can viewers let me know, when did the Uncle Sam imagery come on board? Was it the First World War or the Second one? It might have even been earlier. Uncle Sam. What's the story with Uncle Sam? So Uncle Sam, bang in the middle, the Two of Pentacles, King of Cups, Knight of Swords, Empress. Oh, much more active. This is a much more out there dynamic angle. This was more in the mind and in the soul, and that what it meant. This is Uncle Sam action stations. So juggling the pentacles or the coins, not afraid to manipulate. So the image was chosen and the whole name was chosen, everything else was chosen to deliberately, get people on side. And it worked. We still remember it however many decades later. That was underscored by the King of Cups, the father of the country. Right. Now, the Uncle Sam image was not as benign looking as some of the other entities. It was quite an aggressive, accusative sort of figure, but nonetheless emotionally selling the country. So then further out, the Knight of Swords, let's go and make this happen. We're going to change the world. This is America, go out. In the meantime, of course, if you women would just stay home and have babies, that would be excellent. So just hold on a moment, I've got to pause. Yes, so on the one hand, it's quite literal. Women go out and populate, please. But it was also the fountain of new ideas, the fertility of new ideas, taking it out to the world, being innovative. That was there. However, on top, in a way, this Uncle Sam, let's go out and do it, energy also led to this illusionary idea of what was important on some level, wealth and jewels and castles and power, and you can see the silhouetted figure being quite mesmerized. So this is sort of a sign of that. It was an extension of the Uncle Sam needs you type thinking. It got a bit out of control, has contributed a bit to today's world, you'd have to say. So now I want to do a reading on, so not so much where is America going. I think it's about the moral path, isn't it? I mean, what is the ethics of the new America? Let me think. What is the new America going to look like? What are the values that are going to shape the new America? That's better. Got there in the end. What are the values that are going to shape the new America? Because, of course, there's conflicting values. And I'm going to use my new Vendesier cards to clarify these. Okay. So, what are the values that are going to create the new America? By new, I mean from now for the next sort of 10 to 20 years, the new America. Let's have a look. I'm doing a different layout. Oh, a reversal, no less. of Wands, Knight of Chariots. Okay. Look, viewers, it really tells that story that we know from following all these issues, right? But what is interesting is this card in the middle, the Four of Pentacles, hanging on to money, hanging on to information, just hanging on, reversed, letting go of money, letting go of information, etc., etc. So security falling away a bit. I think that is interesting as a central card, that people are feeling less secure in the time of Trump. This is not mysterious. Right. Now, underneath this, we have the world. This is America. It's made up of people from all over the world. But the world card, Major Arcana, is also the end of a huge cycle. Right? The end of a huge cycle and the birth of a new cycle. And speaking of new, she says, this is the phallic Ace of Wands. This is hitting people over the head with ideas in its most negative. But when it's in its more positive sort of view, it's power and energy with green shoots of ideas that are coming up that are just as powerful. That's the code and the clue, that are just as powerful as the opposing voices of hate and intolerance and greed. Right, so I'm giving the Wands both meanings there, the Ace of Wands, right? Now, bit of conflict going on. Well, we can't pretend there isn't. It absolutely is. I mean, families are being torn apart, you know. Whole echo chambers of the media are only servicing their own audiences. People aren't crossing over, and so forth. However, let's look at that. So, you have the 5 and the 7 of Wands. 5 of 7, inner conflict. So for those of us on this channel, it's how the hell are we going to survive this time of Trump and that sort of internal conflict. For the Republicans, it's a different sort of internal conflict. You know, we're losing to the libertarian hordes. What are we going to do about it? And so forth. So different energy. People are holding their own and fighting off all comers. So there is a bit of the solo energy in this card for sure, as opposed to the collective. And I think people will stay a bit conflicted and drained if you stay on your own. It is so important to change that dynamic in relation to this particular political time, social time, and time of great change and quest. Okay, the two options moving forward. You can have the 7 of Swords, the rip-off card, and let people keep ripping off everyone else who has less money than them, and I'm all right, so who cares about everyone left behind energy, versus the let's look out, let's look up, let's look at the bigger world. It twins down here with the world card. This is the more sophisticated America that wants to actually keep its allies, that wants to actually treat people decently, that doesn't want to separate children at the border. This is waiting for the ship to come in with great dignity, and I think dignity is the important word here. Going out, we have the Chariot. This keeps coming up. The Chariot is my new go-to card when I read any of these things. The Chariot, the Chariot. So there's movement. So it's up to you which chariot you're on. So choose your chariot wisely, viewers. And then the further out, we have the 2 of Wands, which again, can you see the relationship between these two? Very similar. These are merchant type figures or men of ideas, and holding the world in the hands here. It's commerce and trade, but it's also the mind and ideas. So I'm very pleased to see both those cards there. So the answer for America is in the new ideas. So it's like Trump saying wind turbines are ugly because he didn't want them near his golf course in Scotland, and therefore will sabotage all attempts at energy transformation, versus the Green New Deal. America has great choices now. It's not as though you've got these horrible dyed-in-the-wool, there were no dinosaur type flat earthers and nothing to combat it with. There's lots of fabulous, exciting ideas. Some of them will be too far out there for the majority, but you've got to have out there ideas to come back and for people to move forward. And sometimes, like whenever there's a radical revolution for change and improvement in society, you've got to have that impetus. You've got to have the Ocasio-Cortez type ideas out there. But Bernie, bless Bernie, 78 or whatever he is, he has fed the young. He has fed the young with the clarity. There's a purity to certain ideas, like it's not right for 1% of people everywhere to own everything. It's just not right. And he was able to cut across and get that through. So I will always have a soft spot for the burn. So these are my clarifiers. So I want to clarify the inner conflict, and I want to clarify the Chariot here. So what's the conflict about? A mature man. It's funny. This is a wise, gentle soul. I think it could be Bernie. I think the cards just picked up on my Bernie rant. You know, it doesn't look a million miles from Bernie either. So it's that sort of thing that I was describing, which is new ideas come in all sorts of formats, not just from the young. And I think it's the duty of older people who've been around the block a few times and seen it, have we not, some of our more mature viewers, to inspire, protect, support, and be behind the young ones who hopefully have the energy to go out and do all that stuff we've done in various incarnations too. So good luck. I take that as Bernie energy. The Chariot. What's happening with the Chariot, America? I've got to clarify that middle card too. I get so few reversals that I have to go there. Chariot. The mature woman. Oh, what are the chances? Isn't that interesting? The mature man, Bernie, and the mature woman, maybe Nance. Mature woman. So it's interesting because they're not a natural fit. You can't say Bernie and Nancy, you know, would hang out together and play poker and really kick back, would you? But we did get the mature man and we did get the mature woman. So in a way, I think this is America's direction. I've been saying at least for a year, and I'm not alone, obviously, young people are engaging more than they have for several generations, and hopefully are not going to just tolerate this business as usual stuff. They want to see their children. This is not an abstract concept. They want to see that the world's still there for their own children. So you've got things. They want to see change in gun laws. They want to see a more humane approach to LGBTQI issues. They want to see people decently paid for doing decent work. So I'm really happy with those. Now, I have to see what the security issue is about, because this is looking for financial security, and that's been taken away from a lot of people. A lot of people. So what's that about? The clarifier on that. Distant horizons. Ah, anchor in a ship. Look, abusing workers and treating them like robots and de-skilling industry and offshore everything has meant that it's almost impossible now to leave school, let alone college or anything else, and have a job for life. Those days are gone. There's no traditional security. So people have to look for security in a different way. So this is telling us, the distant horizons, that this is a global problem. This is a global problem. Whether you're living in Greece or Croatia or Armenia or Australia, look at that. Look at that. So this is a global scenario we've got going on here. Okay, and when you're in it, and I think it's hard for a lot of Americans too, because you grow up in a country where you're told from the moment you emerge into the world that, you know, this is the greatest country on earth. You know, how can you criticize it? This is the greatest, this is the best. Very clever, isn't it? Because you tend not to question it, you know. If you're told you've got the best legal system, well, not if you're black or Latino or poor. People believe the story. You know, no, it's not, actually, nor is ours. You've got a situation in Australia where if you've got money, you get a lawyer, you're probably less likely to go to jail. If you have no money, you'll go to jail, and that'll be that. That's not justice. We're told the same thing. Best system of law in the world. Well, no. So there we go. All right then, so just to sum that up, I think I'll keep reading on this, the direction America's going. This is quite, I would describe this as a tight read. It's not a big read about the big emotions, the big philosophies that are going to take America forward. No, 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 no. This is talking nitty-gritty. This is talking about working people's lives, right? Being ripped off, losing security, having to fight for every bloody thing. But the mature man and the mature woman have come in. They're not perfect beings, but they've come in, and between them, they're offering a different way of viewing the world. They don't necessarily agree with each other. He's more radical than she is, but they both represent, on some fundamental level, respect for people, respect for diversity, respect for all. Let's hope that energy prevails. All right, well, I enjoyed that. I hope you liked it, guys. Okay, so I'm going to see you soon.